Hey guys, welcome back and thank you for tuning in for this video. So for those of you that are new to this, my name is Daniel Owen and I'm a pro golfer, and my dream has and always will be to play on the European Tour. Obviously that's a little bit hard now with various lockdowns being in place, especially with me being based out of the UK. And so really, during this time, I wanted to do several things. One of which, I always wanted to be a certified coach. And during the second lockdown, I went out and hit the books, and I became a David Ledbetter certified golf instructor. Something which I'm really, really proud of, and something which, should I go down that avenue, then I feel as though that I'm in a really good place to do that. But for me, ultimately, the dream is to still play and to hopefully work my way towards the European Tour. But with all that being said, during this time, I wanted to be able to set up my own YouTube channel. I wanted to be able to talk openly about things that I was certainly brought up with, things that I have struggled with, certainly things that have helped me. And ultimately, I want to keep you guys in the loop. I want you to be a part of my journey. And then if I can help you guys play better golf, even better. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about shot shaping. We're going to be talking fades. We're going to be talking draws. What the characteristics of those things are, things that need to be in place, a couple of myths, which we're hopefully going to try and put to bed. But ultimately, I want to be able to talk about this with you guys because I want to help you guys shape your ball not only more consistently, but also be able to do it with ease. So I think moving forward, I think we need to really understand, first of all, what is a fade, what is a draw? And, for the purpose of this, we're going to talk as if we were all right-handed golfers. So a draw typically needs to do one of two things. It needs to start right of target, and then it needs to turn back onto the target. And then you've got a fade, where a fade will have to start left of your intended target and then fade or shape back onto your target. So with all this being said, certainly growing up, I was definitely exposed to what I call some old school teachings. Certainly things that don't really hold up nowadays, because nowadays we get to work with things such as GC Quad, TrackMan, and really, really, like high level state-of-the-art launch monitors, which can give us feedback on club path and face relative to path. And really, it's kind of helped break down what was originally taught, which was, certainly for those that I think are, that probably have been playing golf for 15 years plus, certainly draws, it was very hands orientated and a lot of talk of forearm roll and basically a lot of things that required a great deal of effort, but with little to no room for error. Whereas now, with the understanding of what you have to do to hit draws and how to hit fades, we can actually make very, very few adjustments and actually keep a lot of same principles in that. So getting a little bit more into shot shaping, we need to understand two things. One is that the club face dictates start line, starting direction, where the ball sets off. And then the second thing that we need to know is that the club path, more so, the path that the club travels on throughout the motion dictates the shot shape. And then with those two things paired up, you will then ultimately get what your shot will look like. So in other words, if we were to hit a shot where the face would be pointing at target, and say if we had a club path of 0, i.e. straight back, straight through, you would get your straight golf shot. If we had a face that was slightly right of target, and then if we had a swing path that was in to out and matched that, we would hit a push. Face left, swing left, pull. As you can see here, we've got 3 alignment sticks that are on the floor, and you're all probably thinking, why on earth is he doing this? So this was shown to me by a golf coach and very, very good player called Zane Scotland, and this is probably the best explanation of how to shape shots that I've seen. And I'm sure that this will help you too. So normally whenever we hit shots, I would always recommend having a alignment stick, or even if you don't have them, you can still use golf clubs. Those are perfectly fine too. So you would have one which would point parallel to your target, so that, you know, when you stand into it, you know, you got your feet parallel to it, knees, hips, shoulders, all that set up. And so we know that if we want to hit a straight shot, the face needs to be pointing at the target with a neutral path, i.e. a 0 path where it is straight back and straight down that line. So the great thing about this is that, say if we talk about draws, so we know it needs to start right at target, so therefore the face actually needs to be slightly right of target for that to happen, but the path, in order to get it to shape back, the path would need to actually be further right of that. So what we can do, so for the purpose of draws, we actually could get rid of the bottom one to make life a little bit easier. So really we have this area in which that face can be. As long as the face is, or sorry, as long as the path is right at that, everything's great. So in other words, I could set up, you know, square to this, face a little bit open, but then I've then got to make sure that I've got a swing further right of that to then make sure that I get the shape. Something like that. However, what if I told you that instead of having to take on so many variables, that I could actually make it even simpler than that, in which the only thing that you change is face, and you don't have to put on a different golf swing, because some of the best players in the world make things really simple and therefore really, really easy to repeat. So the reason why we have this top one is that we can actually set up parallel to this line. Now I know what you're thinking, that means, well, you're going to be aiming miles right. That's exactly the point. Exactly the point, so that I do not have to change anything. So this is my start line. So if I set up parallel to this and then swung along the line of my feet, which would be right of my target, I would hit a straight push, or it would just be straight, but just right of target. So the path is in place. What if we change the club face so that it was left of path? Then we'd actually get a draw. So that's why we have this little threshold in here. So really the face would point left of it. So i.e. we would stand right, but then close the club face a little bit, and then it's vitally important that you re-grip from here. And then if I was to swing along the line of my feet, i.e. straight, I'd actually hit draws. So face a little closed, swing along line of feet. And there you got draw. So using the same principle trying to fade it, we're going to stand parallel to this bottom one, making sure face, feet, knees, hips, shoulders, all of it parallel to this bottom line. So as you can see from there, I'm aiming left. However, we need the face to be slightly right of that, but still left of target. So the face will be open. So when we get into square, take your hand off the club, open it slightly, re-grip from there. And then from there, literally swing along lines of your feet. And you've got a nice little fade there. Delightful. It's really simple, really, really simple, and I would recommend experimenting with these, because everyone usually has some kind of tendency to lean towards something. For me personally, I like draws. Draws are my preferred stock shot, but it's really funny you say that, because when I'm under the gun, so say if I'm faced with a really tight tee shot and I just simply need to get it in play, I'll actually fade it. I'll actually fade it because I feel as though that I'm able, well, I've never been a particularly handsy player anyway, so this whole principle of already having those conditions already set up for me is ideal. So give this a try. Let me know how you get on with it. So with those principles in mind, it should be relatively easy to do that, and I think I wouldn't get overly carried away with this in the sense that I wouldn't want you to try and shape every single shot that you need to, but I think this is especially important for when you manage your golf ball when you go out and play, because we don't really want to play golf swing, but at the same time we kind of want to have a basic understanding as to what's going on. And with this concept, we're actually able to make setup changes in order to hit better shots. So stuff that is already premeditated, doesn't require a great deal of brain power, and more importantly, you're not thinking about anything whilst you're hitting golf shots. I mean, I couldn't think of anything worse than you get off to a terrible start during a round and then you already start playing golf swing mid-round. I mean, you can't do that. Sadly, there's a time and a place for that, and that should be driving range. But I think if you've got a better standing of ball flight laws and how to shape it, then you can manage your golf ball. And then also, with this, I would highly recommend working out what is easiest for you to do, and then from that, you can then start to develop what we call a stock shot. So, gun to head, you need to get this ball in play, you need to hit fairway with driver, what are you going to go to? And then from that, that's going to give you so much more confidence going into rounds. And, we've all been in places, where, we're playing well, coming down the last hole, need a score here, need to get it in play off the tee, and then bottle it. With this, I feel as though that now that you will all have a better concept on how to shot shape, you'll be able to work on your own stock shot, which will help get the ball in play, bring your scores down, and ultimately make you a much, much happier person. So anyway, I hope that helped. Let me know how you guys get on with that. Comment down below. I hope you like what you saw today. As you can see, I'm slowly starting to grasp, this whole new YouTube world. But let me know what you think. Let me know what things that I can do better. Because me personally, I do want to get better at this. I want to make the content better for you guys, and as much feedback as possible would be great. But anyway, thank you very much for that, and see you next time.